Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I have my cup of tea because I'm in a hotel room. So, being in a hotel room, and I've just decided I'm a coffee snob. So, I don't like instant coffee anymore. So, it's always going to be tea if it's in a hotel room. So sorry about the fuzziness. It is what it is, right? Because I've only got my laptop and it is very old. So that's okay. We go with what we can do. Last Sunday, believe it or not, I just completely forgot because we're down in Perth. We're doing so much. We've got so many jobs. And it wasn't until my mum messaged me and said, "Are you going live?" that I went, "Oh, I forgot about that." So that's okay. We're going to move on. And I thought it was a really good time to talk about food struggles when you're on holidays like we've been. Now, this last, I don't know, it feels like weeks. It has been weeks. It's been a while that we've been down here. We've stayed in 3 different hotels, and it has been one hell of a trip that was lots of jobs, right? So we've been running around doing lots of jobs, sorting stuff out, selling stuff. We brought down my husband's motorbike, sold that morning. So it's been a really busy trip. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'll be good. It'll be easy. The middle place we stayed had a kitchen, but on either side of that middle part is a hotel room with no kitchen. Turns out that hotel room also only has a really, really small bar fridge, like just enough for drinks and my coffee enema solution, right? Literally nothing else. And our tablets, or my tablets. So it started off really well, and I brought down jerky with me and made keto wraps. So I tend to try and veer towards keto if I can. But I also don't stress about things on holidays. If you can't do it, you can't do it. I don't make life uncomfortable for everybody around me. I just kind of just go with the best I can, because when you're away, things feel uncomfortable as it is, right? Because you're not in your usual space. So I'm not going to make things worse by saying, no, we have to spend an extra hour doing this, that, and the other so that I can get the appropriate food. If I had worse problems, then I probably would. But what's happened so far, nothing's happened with my weight. At the middle place, there was scales, so I was able to check my weight, and also I can tell by my jeans, right? Because I'm wearing jeans every day. So my weight hasn't changed, and that's probably because the sheer number of steps we're doing every day and the exercise we're doing. I've got sore legs today from gardening at our son's place a couple of days ago. So you know how that works if you've not gardened in a while. So my weight hasn't changed because of all the activity, so that's great. But what I have noticed from eating normal food as opposed to carnivore food is that my lipedema ankles are puffy again. So, and it's really distinct for me. For some of you, you'd go, oh, that's nothing. But for me, I can see the difference. And because these are skinny jeans that I roll up, when I take the jeans off at the end of the day, I see a mark. I don't normally see a mark. So that lipedema puffiness has definitely come back just from eating normal food. And even then, most of the time, the kind of food I'm eating would be considered healthy to probably the majority of people. I wrote a list, right? So because this is holiday mode for me, all right. So some days have been good. Some days have not been so good, but the days that have been not so good is more that I've met up with friends. So I've met up with a lot of friends since I've been down here to have lunch, breakfast, coffee, all the things. And the foods have been lovely. The mushroom pea gnocchi at Flick's Kitchen in Mandurah, if you live in this area, outstanding. And luckily for me, because of gastric sleeve surgery, I can no longer have a bowl of gnocchi. I can only have, say, 2 pieces of the gnocchi. So that sort of works in my favor there from the lipedema perspective. But then I had pork belly as well. So I had some meat in there. So as I said, some days have been good, some days not so good, where I've had Maccas, right? A sausage McMuffin on the way because you know you're not going to eat until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is what it is. I don't beat myself up over it because that will affect my weight and health more than the sausage muffin, right? Or sausage sandwich for my other friends. Ollie brought with him man shakes. Because he uses man shakes for breakfast and lunch. That's how he gets in his coffee fix, actually. And I thought to myself, because that's been easy, and I thought, I should have done that. I should have bought some Optifast or something like that, which would have at least taken care of 1 or 2 meals for me. Night meals in this hotel room have been either room service. We've had a lot of Red Rooster, so buy a whole chicken or something like that. We've done that. What else have we done? I'm not sure. But it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's okay. And the other thing is, with this little fridge, it hasn't got a freezer. So we've been going up to my mother-in-law's during most days where I thought, I could boil some eggs and I could do this and do that. But there's no freezer to put our ice bricks that we brought down in the eskies to keep boiled eggs cold when we're moving around during the day and things like that. So I've been every step of the way, I've been like, I could do that, but then no, I can't keep it cold, so that won't work. So it's been, I thought it would be much easier, but it has not been. So that surprises me. And because we're not frugal, but we're saving money for our big adventure at the end of the year, you tend to look for the cheaper things rather than, I'll get the ribeye on the room service menu that's, $60 or whatever it is. So you tend not to do that if you're watching the money. So it's very tricky. And, for anyone watching, put in the comments what your struggles are when you travel, or have you got ideas? Is there something that you do when you travel that can help me in a hotel room? Mind you, we've only got a couple of days left. So we are now at the point where we really can't wait to get home because we've done all our jobs. Literally today, we're going to try and go to the movies. I haven't been to the movies in probably 6-7 years. I'm not sure, because we've finished everything. We've done everything. The motorbike's sold. All our stuff is sold. Everything's good to go. So we've only got, and then tomorrow we drive out. We drive home again. So that will be good. But let's see what else is on my list. Okay, so as I said, my size and weight has pretty much stayed the same. I can tell that by my clothes. Here's what I have noticed. Aches and pains from eating normal food. And by normal food, I had a pad thai one night on room service. Now, rice noodles, gluten-free, veggies in it. Don't normally have veggies because I'm carnivore. It had tofu in it. I'm not a tofu fan, so I sort of moved that to the side. Prawns, chicken, all the things. So when I say eating normally, this is what I mean. And I have noticed very distinctly that over this last couple of weeks, the aches and pains just in general, I can feel my knees, I can feel my hands when I do this, that kind of thing. So I would encourage you, it was just a reminder to me of how good I feel when I pretty much am carnivore most of the time. So it was just like this moment of, oh, wow, it was a reminder that, yes, that really does make such a difference in your body. So I would say if you have not tried carnivore and you have aches and pains, then I would absolutely go with, trying carnivore just to see if the aches and pains alleviate. I get Angus beef patties from Macca's or barbecue chickens, but it is hard traveling. Yeah, barbecue chickens, that's been good. I had enough space in the little, and I'm talking like the fridge is not big. It's like the tiniest bar fridge you've got. I had enough space to put the leftover from the whole chicken in the fridge. But then when we wanted to put something else in there, we had to throw away the rest of the barbecue chicken. So it's been like, which, doesn't sit well with me throwing it out, but I've had to throw out food this trip because it's nothing you can do. And you know what? I think I find it easier to eat better in Asia, thank goodness, because of the sheer amount of satay sticks and things like that you can eat on the run. Here, everything's been quite tricky. And a lot of the time, so the Angus beef patties, I think the times that I've had the sausage breakfast muffin, which I just get the plain sausage one, if I try and eat the patties, I'm driving. I do all the driving in Perth. Ollie does the big drive down and the drive back, and I do the driving in the city. You can't eat that kind of thing when you're driving. So it's sort of like there's all these things going through your head when you're traveling. Certainly once we got to the middle accommodation where we had a kitchen, we went and bought steaks, sausages, butter, eggs, and that's what we kind of ate for that time there. But then once we left again and back to the hotel room, yeah, we were back to, okay, so you're spending the big dollars on the room service and seeing how you go. So it's definitely been tricky. I'm ready to go back home simply because I'm ready to eat like I normally do, which surprises me. But I can't wait to not have aches. Literally, and I know my hands hurt because gardening. That's when they started hurting, really. But yeah, it's amazing. I have noticed, and I have got signs in my body, like my knees, because I've got 2 artificial knees, where I can start to feel them. And they don't hurt, but I can feel them. Whereas when I'm eating carnivore, 90% of the time, and I'm not eating all the weird stuff and the crap, I don't feel them. I don't notice them. So that has been a massive, even if you're having a pad thai with veggies in it and rice noodles, still not the best if you've got lipedema, thyroid disease, and the things that I have going on, right? And this, essentially is about my journey. So I can only tell you what's been happening from my perspective. So yeah, I think that down the track, because this has been a huge thing for me for when we moved to Asia, it's like, so how are you going to get on when you're traveling permanently? And I think the main thing is in Asia, there are so many. I think when we went to Singapore, we lived off satay sticks. Everywhere we went, it was satay sticks. And I hadn't had surgery at that point. I wasn't carnivore at that point, but we still lived off satay sticks because they were delicious and they were easy to find. They were everywhere. So I'd say that'll be a fairly standard thing for us. Sorry about the lighting. It's not good here using my laptop. But definitely beef patties and food courts. We did do Chinese one night, so I loaded up on the meaty things and I only put a little tiny amount of the noodles in the bottom of my container. But yeah, there is lots of places, but I've been surprised by how problematic it can be to keep on the straight and narrow. So I think next trip down here is supposedly for when we leave. Whether that happens or not, who knows? We've got to go with the flow. I think I'll take a leaf out of my husband's book and bring Optifast or a shake meal with me, or soups. I actually really quite like the Optifast soups. So I think that's a really good way of not being less prone to what you're eating, you know. So I think that's where I'm going to head for the next trip. But yeah, I mean, you could eat chicken every day. You'd get a bit bored of that, I think, like anything. So I guess you could also spend the big dollars on the steaks on the room service menu, but I wasn't willing to because it was a bit out of this world. So we came down here to make money by selling stuff, not so much to come down and spend lots of money. So I'm being a little bit frugal from that perspective. So yeah. But if you are watching this later on the replay, please, and you've got ideas of what you do on your trips and you go away often, please share it with me, because we've got sort of permanent traveling in our future, in our near future. And I'd love to hear your hacks of what you do and how you go about things to keep yourself as much as you can on the straight and narrow, because it's been such a surprise to me to notice my ankles swelling from the lipedema perspective. I wasn't expecting that. So it shows that it doesn't matter if you're keeping your weight in check by walking heaps and doing all the exercise that we've done. We've done a lot of steps, many days. It doesn't matter, because the weight staying the same is great, but the lipedema, the fact that I can see the lipedema changing, that's a big concern to me. So that's going to be more of a concern to me when we travel than keeping my weight in check, because I've had gastric sleeve surgery. That automatically, walking is a hack. Walking is the biggest hack, doing exercise, because you can't eat enough calories to counteract the amount of exercise you're doing. So the weight is kind of a non-issue to me, so for the most part. But seeing my ankles balloon and the cuffing get worse in this couple of weeks that we've been here, that's like, oh, that's what I'm going to have to be very aware of as we travel. Because generally as you travel, you're also going to have fluid retention and things like that anyway, and change of environment, change of humidity potentially, although it's very humid up north where we are, so that shouldn't matter. There's going to be things ahead that I'm going to have to navigate. So if you've got tips for me, and I don't think there's Maccas everywhere in Asia, so I know there are that, but I don't know what they stock and if it's a different kind of meat, or I have no idea. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out, and you will find out when the time comes, because I will share that with you. So again, just the last bit, if you have not tried carnivore and you have aches and pains, please try it. And you'll need to try it for at least 2 weeks. You have to try anything for at least 2 weeks before you can make a judgment on it, because your body has to readjust. Your body has to get through the detox of not eating whatever it is you were eating. So please try it, because it's been astounding to me, the aches and pains, because I'm just eating normally. And by normally, I'm meaning the grains and the veggies. So give it a try. Get back to me and tell me how you get on, because it's been a stark reminder to me that, yes, my body still, particularly with the lipedema, would prefer to eat mostly meat. So you've got to try things. I had somebody comment on one of my on the lipedema video that she was going to try plant-based. And I'm like, great, go for it. Just because plant-based for most of my life didn't help me, doesn't mean to say it's not going to help you. You've got to try things to dismiss them in your own world, because we're all so completely different. So you try out whatever it is, but don't try it for a week and go, no, I feel crappy. You feel crappy because you've removed the processed foods or the coffee or the other things or the sugar or whatever it is. You don't feel crappy because you're suddenly on carnivore or you're suddenly on plant-based. No, your body has to transition. So whatever you try, please try it for at least 2 weeks. 30 days is better. And see how you go. Track your symptoms. Write everything down that you're feeling before you start and track it as you go along, because carnivore has been one of the best things for not feeling aches and pains and for having energy for days and not stopping. What I've done on this trip, I have not stopped. We get up at 5 a.m. most days and we are going, and you know, it hasn't stopped. And my energy is fading, and that's because I'm not being true to my carnivore diet that my body prefers. So, but we're nearly home, 2 more days and we're home. So all right, so that's it. I'm going to leave it here. This was more about getting online and doing this after missing last week. But I will be back to usual next Sunday at home, and I will have another topic to chat about. And I've got tea today and have a cuppa with you over. So have a great day. I'm going to go and let my husband back in the hotel room because I booted him out. That's another thing I'll have to get used to when we travel, is letting him stay in the room when I do things like this. So let me know how you go, and I will see you all next Sunday. Bye.